Welcome back to the True Assassins podcast, everybody. Back for another daily dose of true crime mystery. I'm Adrian Smith.
I'm Julia Jones.
And I'll be your host as we take this wild ride.
Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up into the world of assassins and hitmen.
That's right.
Today's story is inspired by fiction.
Okay.
But it really makes us think about some important stuff like betrayal, justice,
Definitely.
and rebellion.
Big topics.
Yeah, and explores choices people make when they're dealing with a whole lot of power.
Absolutely.
So if you're loving these addictive true crime stories, hit that follow button because you won't want to miss a single one. So let's just dive right in.
Okay. I'm ready.
We're in a kingdom, right?
Okay.
And this kingdom is kind of held captive by its own king.
Oh, no.
He's a ruthless guy.
Sounds like it.
And he's got this legendary archer, Isla, working for him to get rid of anyone he thinks is a threat. But here's the thing that's so interesting to me about Isla. Her role changes so much over time.
I know. At the beginning, she's like the symbol of hope. Almost like a superhero, right?
Yeah.
With those enchanted arrows that never miss.
Like never miss.
Never. And you know, her arrows were emerald green.
Oh, wow.
They were like a symbol of strength and security for the whole kingdom. But speaking of arrows, you know, they're enchanted, right?
Right.
That little detail kind of makes me think about the real history of archery.
Like how?
I mean, enchanted arrows obviously come from fantasy.
Obviously, yeah.
But what if we look at real-world archery?
Okay.
Different cultures, different times.
Yeah.
They all had their own special techniques and technologies.
So, like, what kind of advancements were there?
Well, think about the composite bow, for instance.
Okay.
It really changed things.
How so?
It gave arrows way more power and range.
Oh, I see.
So suddenly they could hit targets much farther away.
That would definitely make them more formidable, yeah.
I mean, imagine seeing that for the first time.
Yeah.
It'd be like magic.
Almost like they were enchanted, right?
Exactly.
That's a cool way to think about it.
Yeah.
It makes the story feel more believable somehow. But getting back to the story, the king's reasons for wanting people gone start to change.
Yes. He goes from real enemies.
Like people who are actually trying to harm the kingdom?
Right. To just anyone who questions him, you know?
Like anyone who disagrees?
Even just a little bit. It's basically silencing anyone who has a different opinion.
Wow. So the bow goes from being this tool to protect the kingdom to a way to control people.
Sadly, it happens in the real world, too.
Like how?
Think about authoritarian regimes and how they use stuff like propaganda and censorship to hold on to their power.
So basically they control what people hear and see.
Exactly. So it's kind of similar to how the king's using Isla and her arrows. It all comes down to power and control.
And poor Isla. She goes from this hero who's supposed to protect everyone to a tool of this tyrant.
Right. It's got to weigh on her conscience, you know?
Right.
Imagine having to go against your own morals.
Having to use your skills to scare people.
Yeah, it's basically being forced to do things that you know are wrong.
That's got to be a lot to carry around.
It's true. There's actual research showing how people who are made to do terrible things.
Like really awful things.
Yeah, they often end up with pretty serious trauma.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How these themes in the story aren't just made up.
Definitely.
They reflect real-world problems.
And then we get to the big turning point.
Where Isla finally says no.
The king wants her to kill this woman.
Okay.
And all she was doing was talking about peace.
But that's enough to get you killed.
Apparently. So the king tells Isla to execute her.
Wow.
But Isla, she refuses.
She's so brave.
I know. It's a huge risk.
I bet.
But her saying no is what starts to change everything.
It's like that one act of defiance sets off a chain reaction.
It really does.
And ultimately leads to the king getting what he deserves.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty shocking scene.
Oh.
Isla's there, about to be executed.
Oh, man.
And suddenly, this arrow comes flying out of nowhere.
From where?
No one sees where it comes from, but it's one of those emerald green arrows.
Isla's arrows.
Yep. And it hits the king, killing him right there on the spot.
It's like something out of a movie.
I know, right? It's justice.
Poetic justice for sure.
But it also makes you wonder, was this planned?
What do you mean?
Was there a whole group of people working against the king?
A rebellion brewing in the shadows.
Or was it just one person?
Taking a chance to get revenge.
It's really interesting to think about the different possibilities.
It's one of those things that the story leaves up to us.
Exactly.
But what's clear is that even though people thought Isla was dead...
They thought the king had succeeded.
Right. But her act of defiance, it gave people hope.
Yeah.
It lit the spark for a real rebellion against the king.
It's amazing how powerful one person's actions can be.
It makes you think about all those times in history where one person's bravery changed everything.
Absolutely. Like, think about Rosa Parks refusing to give up her seat on that bus.
Yeah. Or that man standing in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square.
Those single acts of defiance become these iconic images.
Yeah.
And they inspire entire movements.
They show how, even when it seems like there's no hope, one person can make a difference.
Totally.
And what I love about Isla's story is that it doesn't end there. It becomes a legend.
That's right.
People whisper about her surviving and training others in secret.
Away from the king's eyes.
To fight for what they believe in.
Not just about killing, but about aiming true.
It's such a powerful message.
It is. It's like she transforms from this weapon of the state to a symbol of hope.
And rebellion.
Yeah. It's like a reminder that no matter how strong the forces of oppression are, they can't crush the human spirit.
People always long for freedom and justice.
That's the heart of it.
So what does all this mean for you, our listeners? Maybe Isla's story, even though it's fictional, can teach us something important.
I think so.
It makes us ask ourselves, if we were in Isla's position, what would we do? Would we stand up for what's right? Even if it meant risking our lives?
It's a big question.
Yeah. Head over to our social media and let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to rate and follow the True Assassins podcast
for more addictive true crime stories.
We'll be back tomorrow with another wild tale from the world of murder,
hitmen,
and assassins.
See you then.